3, 2, 1, 0.
This is what happens when you don't turn down the volume. Welcome, one and all. I'm just testing it over here to make sure everything is working properly. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to Monday Night Nerd. It is Monday at 7 o'clock. We're here to talk about Comic-Cons. We're here to talk about Hamilton Comic-Con specifically because Hamilton Comic-Con 2024 is in the books, in the pocket, out of sight. It's all over, but we're here to talk about it because it was a pretty fun weekend. We're going to talk about Hamilton Comic-Con. We're going to talk about the Thunderbolts. We're going to talk about a metal band that's going to be coming to Toronto this spring and a whole lot more. I hope you guys are having a great week. I'm having a great week so far. If you guys checked out my stories, you might have noticed this little thing up here. This little banner up there. I got a banner made. Am I a cosplayer now because I have a banner? I don't know, but it's pretty cool. I got this because I'm gonna have a table at a con. Like, think about that. If you brought me back to 2019 when I first got into cosplay and really started, I would have been like, wait, you got a table at a convention? Why? Somebody thinks I'm good enough to have a table. I'm going to be at the Niagara Game Con on October 6th in St. Catharines, Ontario. And I'm going to have a table. I'm going to have a banner. I'm going to have some 8x10. I'm going to be sitting there next to Pretty Nerdy Crystal and a whole bunch of other cool people. We're going to be there from, I believe, 11 to 3. It's an afternoon con. It's only $5 to get in. You should come down. You should hang out because it's going to be a great time. We're going to have some fun. Crystal's in the chat now. She's saying, yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to have a blast down there. Let's kick off with a little bit of news today. Folks, if you know me, you know I am a big Metallica fan. I've been a Metallica fan since probably high school, if not earlier. There's a story I probably told on the podcast many moons ago where my mom's ex-boyfriend took me to a store. They were having a big fight, and he took me to Walmart. And back then was when McFarlane made the Metallica figures. If you remember, those are about this big, and it was from the Justice line. And I didn't know who Metallica was, but I remember my mom's boyfriend was being a pain in the butt. And we walked past the toys, and he said, those are the dumbest looking toys ever, and anyone who likes Metallica is an idiot. I clearly remember him saying that. And I didn't know who Metallica was. The next day, I started to look into who Metallica was, and not long after that, Napster came out, and LimeWire came out, and I will fully admit, I downloaded everything I could of their discographies, and then, as a true fan, I went out and bought all of their albums on CD because they deserve the money because of how great they were. I'm a giant Metallica fan. I used to be a paid member of their fan club back in the day, and because of that, I got first dibs on tickets today, and I have to say, I am so happy to say that I have tickets for Metallica April 24th and 26th in Toronto. It's a 2-day show, no repeat weekend. It's a Thursday and a Saturday night. And you're probably wondering, why are you so excited? Because you've probably seen Metallica before, and I have. This will be my 5th time seeing Metallica. I'm super excited because I have been saving my pennies. Well, to be honest, my wife has been saving our pennies because we usually go on vacation, but this year I said I'm not going to go on vacation. I'm going to stay home and do some cosplay stuff. And well, I purchased a really expensive ticket today, and you're probably wondering, how much did you spend on a ticket? Well, this is the most I've ever spent on a concert ticket, and it still blows my mind to think this and to say it out loud. I spent over $5,000 on a ticket today. And you're probably like going, wait, you spent $5,000 on a concert ticket? I did. And what I got from it is well worth $5,000 for a diehard Metallica fan like myself. I not only get 2 tickets to the show, so I have one ticket for each night. Metallica is going to be at the Rogers Center. The stage is a circle. I'm in the middle of the pit of the stage. I get a meet and greet with the band beforehand. 2 members of the band, could be Rob, could be Kurt, could be Lars, could be James. I get to go to a Q&A with them before the show. I get to walk around the stage and talk to the production crew. I get to walk on the stage that they're playing on that night. I get to go through the museum that goes with them while they're on tour. And the museum has all old instruments, all old set lists, all old everything from their legacy. I get to walk through that. I even believe I get to play some of the instruments, which as a drummer, oh my God. I get a signed set list from both shows. I get to get into the venue front at first, so I'm going to be right up against the barricade. I get a downloadable audio of both shows. I get pretty much everything I've ever wanted as a Metallica fan. So this is going to be the concert I've ever been to. My mind is still blown that I'm doing this. And I'm going to be taking photos and videos and everything I can. And the next night, on the Monday after, I'm going to be doing a Monday Night Nerd, and I'm going to show you guys everything that I got to do. The fact that I'm meeting the band, or at least meeting 2 members of the band, is insane to me. I know a lot of people crap on the Saint Anger album because of various reasons. I was going through a lot of mental health problems during that album cycle, and I know because of the Some Kind of Monster movie and being a giant fan, there was a lot of mental health problems going on with the band at the time, and you can very well hear that in the album. So to say that Metallica and music helped me through my mental health is an understatement. I have this tattoo that's a pill bottle with music notes sticking out of it, and it is musical medication. That's what the MM stands for. But it also deep down stands for Metallica music, because with that band, I was up many nights banging on drums to Metallica songs, and I can't wait to meet them and explain to them, which they probably heard a billion times from a billion different fans, of how much their music means to me to this day. And I'm still can't believe that I spent that much on concert tickets just for myself. But this is the creme de la creme of concert experiences that I've ever wanted. And we are getting to that age with that band specifically, and bands of that genre, that things happen and injuries happen and age happens where I might not get the chance to meet the band ever again. So I took advantage of this, and I know I could have put that money into so many other things, but I needed that moment to be in the center of the stage and to meet the band and to see everything I've ever wanted to with them. So yes, it still shocks me to see that credit card bill saying I just spent over $5,000 on a concert ticket, but I know that weekend will be absolutely insane for me. I'm kind of stuttering and repeating myself because it's still hard for me to process that I did press that place order button and the tickets are in my Ticketmaster account. But yeah, I will be there all day Thursday. Friday, the day in between the shows, they will have things going on throughout the city of Toronto. Usually they rent out theaters where fans can go, and there's Q&As with the band members, Q&As with photographers of the band. They've had some of the artists that have worked on stuff with Metallica. They've done interviews. So I'm excited to see what else is going to be there. Also, not only am I seeing Metallica for 2 nights, I get to see Limp Bizkit as an opening act. I get to see Ice Nine Kills as an opening act. I get to see Pantera as an opening act. And I get to see Suicidal Tendencies as an opening act. 4 bands plus Metallica that I've always wanted to see live. And I was grumpy that I didn't get to see Limp Bizkit back when they came around this summer. So now I finally get to see them. Oh, I'm telling you, I'm going to be going nuts that weekend. And if anybody wants to contact me, too bad. I'm too busy. I will be just rocking out with the fans of Metallica. So that is the coolest thing that's happened today. It is the shocking thing that happened today, but I feel like it was money well earned and well spent. Yeah, so it's going to be really freaking cool. Let's jump into the next little bit of news for the nerds out there, folks. We got a trailer today. We got a Marvel trailer that honestly, I knew the movie was happening, but I did not hear anything about a trailer dropping. And I was busy getting my Metallica tickets, and there's a couple people messaging me going, hey, did you see the trailer? And I said, hey, I'm really freaking busy right now. Thunderbolts dropped a trailer. And I got to admit, when I heard about the Thunderbolts movie, I saw the cast at San Diego Comic-Con, I was going, man, this is looking weird. Like, I mean, we've got Elena from Black Widow. We've got Black Widow's dad. I cannot remember his name. We've got the villains from Black Widow. We've got Ant-Man villain. We've got the Winter Soldier Falcon show villain. We've got all these villains that we really didn't get a lot of life in their properties are all coming together in almost, if you're not a comic fan, I would say the easiest way to describe it is a Suicide Squad sort of movie where they're all going to be together fighting a common villain. And we don't exactly know who the common villain is right now. I don't believe so, but I was a little worried because we've had 2 Suicide Squad movies, and the first one was kind of crummy. The second one was amazing. We've also had these team-up movies like Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers. Do we really need another team-up movie? We haven't had a lot of history with these characters. I don't know. This trailer was actually really good. I give Marvel credit. I was not interested in this. After this trailer, I was very interested in this movie, and I'm actually a little excited for it. The opening with, I cannot remember her dad's name, the Red Guardian, thank you. Red Guardian and Milena. When Red Guardian answers the door and he's cleaning up because cleaning up the apartment because he's a single guy, that made me laugh so much because I could totally see myself in that role if I was a single dad. And just the camaraderie the team had, I honestly thought they'd be, 6 or 7 people who wouldn't really bounce off each other, it'd be really awkward. They seem to have a lot of chemistry in the trailer. I don't know if that's just cut well or what, but it looked like they were bouncing off each other pretty darn good. It's not Guardians. I know Marvel in the past has tried to do these team-up movies where there's a lot of jokes and it's not really serious. There were some jokes, but it looked like they were taking this pretty damn seriously. So interested in that. The characters seem like they're having a lot of fun. We also got Bucky Barnes in there, which is always a hit. He's very stone-faced, very straight man in the group. So I think he'll pull in very well to that team. And yeah, I'm interested in this. This is not something I expected to be excited for. It's very interesting that Marvel over the past little while has put out a Venom trailer that everyone kind of went meh on. We've got a Craven trailer that kind of went meh. We've got a Madam Web movie that was meh. And now we're bringing Thunderbolts in. And that was one of the few movies that I was thinking, man, this is going to be a meh too. But from the response I've seen from critics and my friends messaging me, we're all kind of going, this could be fun. So hopefully Marvel doesn't drop the ball on it, but I'm actually very interested in this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't think it comes out until November, if not longer. So we got some time, and hopefully Marvel doesn't do what sometimes Marvel does where they talk about 99% of the movie in the trailer. I like going into these with a little bit of unknown because it just makes things a little better. Honestly, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Marvel, Star Wars, Jurassic Park, everybody. All you got to do at this point is put the logo up. That's all you got to do. Star Wars, whatever the subtitle is, here's the date. You don't have to show anything. Same with Marvel at this point. Marvel, Thunderbolts, done. I don't need to know anything else. If you want to put a screenshot up, great. I don't need to see a 10-minute trailer. I don't need to see 15 trailers before the movie comes out. Simple, easy. You're already going to get a bunch of people going. I don't think you're really going to attract, that much of a percentage of people that have watched the trailer who weren't already interested in the movie. So at this point, I think you got a better chance of pushing people away when they see a trailer because they see things happen on the trailer and they're just like, it's going to be a boring Marvel movie. Put the Thunderbolts logo, you get all the people in the theater. So I'm interested in this. I hope they do well. And I don't think we have any more Marvel for the year except for Venom. I don't know. Maybe Craven too. But either way, it's going to be great. And I think the Deadpool Wolverine hype train has sort of got Marvel back on the tracks a little bit. Will that continue? I don't know. Robin Chat says, I wish they wouldn't say anything. The Deadpool Wolverine media blitz for the year was too much. Yeah, that was something that I was a little worried about. If you're a movie buff, you'll notice that when movies come out and there is a ton of marketing behind it, there's a good chance the movie studio is not 100% on the movie. If it's something like a Star Wars or a Marvel, there usually isn't a ton of trailer or a ton of marketing behind it. So Wolverine and Deadpool was an anomaly where I felt like they went overkill on the marketing. They knew they were going to make their money back, but having like machines at all the theaters where you can grab balls and get trinkets and stuff, that I felt was a little overkill for me. But hopefully Thunderbolts, we don't get a ton and we can just go in and enjoy the movie, because I love watching trailers, but I know I need to stop because after a while, the movies do get ruined after watching too much. So that is all for the news. It hasn't been a big news weekend because I've been at Hamilton Comic-Con. But before we get into that, folks, if you're still here after 16 minutes, if you guys can hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it with some friends. I'm a nerd. I'm a geek. I want to talk to your friends and you about geeky stuff. And the only way to do it is if you tune in Mondays. And the best way to do that is to subscribe. And you can hit that bell notification. And that means anytime I go live or I post videos, you will get notified. And every day from now until probably eternity, I'm going to try and post a daily Q&A video, a YouTube short, about the most important questions that I found online about cosplay and other topics. I went onto our buddy, our eternal Lord, ChatGPT, and I typed in, what are the most asked questions about cosplay? And I took them all, I set up my camera, and I sat down and I answered all of them to the best of my ability. And every single day on my YouTube shorts, I'm going to post one. So if you're a cosplayer, if you're a beginner cosplayer, if you're an advanced cosplayer, if you know anybody who's cosplayed, that you should tell them about it, because these answers might help you. Some of these answers were questions I asked when I first started. So hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, like the video, all those things. Leave a comment after the video is done. And let's just keep these things rolling. Let's jump into the sponsor quickly, and then we're going to jump into the main event. Folks, the sponsor, as always, and especially this week, because of her and myself, I can't put all, I have to admit, she is the queen of the budgets in our household. My beautiful, loving, amazing wife. She is the sponsor. She's always the sponsor because I'm kind of an idiot without her, to be honest. I wouldn't be the man I am without her. I say it every single week, and I know you're getting tired of it, but I do have to repeat it because it's true. I love my wife, and she put so much trust in me, so much. She's got my back over everything I do. She was so excited that I got my Metallica ticket. She was so excited when I got this really cool banner that I'm going to be using at my next con. So, hon, you will always be my sponsor. Even when someone comes in and throws a couple bucks my way, I love you. You will always, always be my sponsor. Okay, Hamilton Comic-Con, my hometown con, was this weekend, and let's talk about it. So I've been volunteering at Hamilton Comic-Con for about 7 years at this point. This is where my volunteering started. At this venue too, at the Hamilton Convention Center in downtown Hamilton, Ontario, Hamilton Comic-Con. This event was a different venue than it has been for the past few years. The past few years, it has been on the mountain of Hamilton, at Mount Hope, basically, near the airport, at the Warplane Heritage Museum. Now, a lot of people have differing opinions. This is probably the most divided when it comes to a venue. There are people who love the Warplane Heritage Museum because of things like the parking, is super big up there and super easy. It is very easy to get to when you drive. It is a very cool venue because the Warplane Heritage Museum is basically like a big triangle, and half is split to the warplanes and half is the Comic-Con, which is cool because if you're a person coming in for the Comic-Con, you get to go in and you can do the Comic-Con, and it also gives you a ticket to the Heritage Museum. So you kind of get two for the price of one. I think that's really cool. Personally, I feel this con up there is very crammed together, and there's not a lot of wiggle room. There's not a lot of ways to expand that convention. I personally liked it at the convention center. Now, this year, it was back at the convention center. Why? I don't know. Whether it was Warplane Heritage Museum said we're done with this, whether the owners of the con said they're done with this, they want to change or go back, I don't know. But we were back this year, and we were on the first floor, and we were on the third floor. The way the floor plan was broken up this year was there was merch and Q&As on the first floor. The third floor had merch and the celebrities. I was on the third floor with the celebrities as I usually am. Now, I'm going to give you kind of an overall what I thought of the venue, and then we're going to break into a day by day, and then I'm going to give you my overall thoughts of the con as a whole. Now, when it comes to the venue, this is a venue that, again, holds a lot of, it's big in my heart. I love this venue because it brings back so many memories. However, I realized during the con, the rose-colored glasses might have been on a little thick. I like this venue. I will not say that I don't like this venue. However, this venue has not aged well. I will fully admit that after this weekend. This was a very muggy convention. And it was muggy because it was just very warm in there and very sticky. The AC was on, and it just made everything cold and wet kind of feeling and sweaty. The venue itself needs some refurbishment. There were some sections on the carpet that were not there for some reason. I don't know if that was just a loading area or what, but it just looked odd having a section of the carpet not there. There was payphones there in the wall still, and two different versions, which really blew my mind. There was one that had like the letters, like the keypads you can text, and then they had an old school one that was just a phone. Haven't seen those in a wall for a while. There are a couple throughout Hamilton that you can find, but having one in a building was shocking to say the least. There was even just like the carpeting and stuff was like that yellow, orangey 70s, 80s look, which is a little nostalgic, but also for 40 years, it's kind of like we should maybe update some things. As Justice Smith says, Hamilton's in dire need of a new convention center. Don't quote me on this, but I believe the people who purchased the Cops Coliseum First Ontario Center are now owners of this building as well and will be doing renovations on it soon. I think this and maybe a couple more things are scheduled for there, and then I think after they're done Cops Coliseum, they will move and start refurbishing this building, which is great to hear. So that's kind of my feeling of the venue. I think I had a little bit of rose-colored glasses. I still like the venue. I still like having things broken up. It definitely made things a little more breathable. It was not so crammed as I have felt in the past, the Warplane Heritage Museum, but I do understand now that there are some things that need to be done. Also, the lighting is dog crap in there. If you saw the thumbnail, that is a photo that was taken in the celebrity area, and I, without putting into Photoshop, just doing little edits on Canva, that's the best I can do. Every photo that I've seen is oranged out like crazy. So yeah, having some nice lighting in there would be a great improvement, especially for a Comic-Con. So let's go in through day by day. I don't think this episode is going to be an hour long. I'm not going to spend the next 50 minutes probably going through every minute detail of the con. But I do want to give you a day by day breakdown so you know where I'm coming from when it comes to my review. So I was volunteering with the celebrities, as I usually do. Day one, the Saturday, it's a 9 a.m. call time. I have to be at the venue for 9 a.m. A friend of mine, Edith, who's usually in chat, she was with me. She was hanging at my house for the weekend because she's from way out west, like London. She was staying with us, so she came to the house. We hopped in the car. We headed down there. Got there at 9 a.m. and we walked in and kind of got a lay of the land. As I usually say, if you're volunteering at a convention, the best thing to do is that first day, get there when you're told, 9 a.m., and just get a feel for the place. Once you get assigned your location, just kind of take 5 minutes just to run around, because that's really good if you're wanting to help the public the best. Find out where the washrooms are. Find out where the Q&A stage is. Find out where certain booths are, food vendors, etc. Because that makes you a really good volunteer when people ask, because then you can say, I know where that is. I can show you where that is. And you don't just say, oh, no, because that's not what people really want to hear when they ask you questions as a volunteer. So we walked around, and like I said, it was not a bad venue. The Q&A was a little funny. I assume that was the way it was laid out. There was maybe 30, 40 chairs, which again, I felt was a little small, but maybe that's all they could fit in there. They couldn't have other rooms. But anyways, I found that kind of funny. Lots of vendors, lots of cool vendors. I didn't pick up anything. I was gifted a print though that I'll put on my stories a little later, from my friend Bonnie, who picked up a bunch of prints, and she picked me up one, which I really appreciate. So we walked around, we got a good idea, and then we kind of made our decisions on where we want everybody to go. And I am a huge Home Improvement fan. That was a show that I watched religiously growing up, and I have put it on from time to time. Thank you, Disney Plus, for having it on your service. And I watch it every now and then. I think Tim Allen's hilarious. I think Richard Karn's hilarious. Debbie Dunning, the whole cast is so good. And if you know me and you're a fan of Home Improvement, you can kind of hear some of the humor that I have is from that show that I picked up on. Some of Tim and Al's back and forth banter is stuff that's sort of engraved into my head, and I pull it out every now and then. So Richard Karn and Debbie Dunning, who is Al and Heidi from Home Improvement, were guests, and I said, I want to work with them because I'm super big fans of theirs. So when they got there, they were ready to go. Everyone was excited. We put up banners. We set up photos. Debbie had some calendars, which was really dope. Debbie Dunning has a calendar right now that's 1996. She had it, she printed it in 1996. She has some more left. The days of 1996 match up identical to 2024. Could not believe it. It was so cool. And everybody was looking at it going 96. And then when you looked at the dates, you're like, oh, it could work today. So I thought that was pretty cool. Richard Karn doing great as always, bantering with fans, having a blast. He's got so many one-liners, which were such a good thing to have over the weekend. So honestly, when it came to Hamilton Comic-Con is one of the slower cons in the area. When you've got something like Fan Expo, which brings in 135,000 people, 4 days, it's a big con. It is what I call the big roller coaster. And if you do the big roller coaster, everything else kind of seems small and kind of not as grand. Niagara Falls is definitely picking up with their celebrity guests every year. So I would say they're probably the second biggest in the area. London is getting bigger by the year. They're becoming a really big powerhouse, especially in the cosplay world. Hamilton is kind of hanging up the rear a little bit. When it comes to guests, I say that the guests that are usually going to be there are probably ones that are on channels like CH Hamilton. A lot of the old school celebrities that maybe not are as well known, but will get that nostalgia crowd. The Revenge of the Nerd folks were there. The wrestlers were there. Tugboat was there. Skinner was there. The Rougeaus were there. Sergeant Slaughter was there. So it's not as mainstream of a con as others. So it was a little slow. And that's, again, to be expected. The last couple years have been that way with that con. Sergeant Slaughter, however, and Catherine Sutherland, who you don't know that name, you've probably seen her work if you're a nerd fan like me. She is the Pink Ranger in Power Rangers. She is not the first Pink Ranger. That is Amy Jo Johnson. Catherine Sutherland came in under the Power Rangers Zeo phase and was there through Turbo and a few other iterations. She's also in the Netflix movie that Power Rangers released, I believe, 2 years ago. And this was her first time in Canada, so she had an amazing line. Sergeant Slaughter is Mr. G.I. Joe. He was super busy, but everyone else was here and there. Debbie Dunning did amazing. Al did great. Richard Karn did great. And but other than that, it was a little slow. I was pretty busy with Debbie and Richard. And I gotta admit, the con sort of ended a little early, which is, I wouldn't say strange, but usually Saturday is the busy day, and we usually can keep the con running until the time it's supposed to end. However, we kind of got out about an hour early. Alex in chat, he was working with Mr. Robert Carradine from Revenge of the Nerds, who I also met, who was a really, really nice guy. He said it was busy, but he was not busy, but steady. And that's what it seemed like with a couple of them. I know a bunch of the wrestlers down the way, they were doing really well. They were doing pretty steady. I know Heath Slater from WWE, used to be WWE. He did fairly steady as well, but nobody was really busy except for Catherine Sutherland and Sergeant Slaughter. So yeah, we got out kind of early, which really surprised me. We ended up going to a local restaurant down the road called Moody's, which has amazing pizza, and they have an arcade upstairs as well. Plug. If you're in the Hamilton area, go to Moody's near Hess Village. Great pizza. Everyone seemed to have a great time. Hey, Silky, how you doing? And yeah, we just kind of hung out there for a while, had some great food, had some celebrations, and then we kind of went home. It was really an uneventful Saturday. It's usually the day when most of the craziness happens, where everybody's kind of running around and chaos is happening. But because the con was such a slow con, we really didn't have any incidents that I know of. And it was kind of just a con. Like really nothing crazy. Day 2, again, another early morning. We had to be back at the con for 9 a.m. And as always, if you've seen the cons reviews that I've done lately, you know Sunday is Sunglasses Sunday. So we were there with all of our sunglasses ready to go. And Alex in chat is going to say there was also Roosevelt's Sunday, as he calls it. If you know the shirt company that was at Fan Expo, RSVLTS, Alex is a diehard fan of their clothing and is trying to get everybody in the world to be wearing their clothing. I'm fighting it. Great clothing. Nothing against them. I just don't have $85 to pay for a shirt. Yes, you are starting. No, you're starting a cult. There's a difference between a trend and a cult. When you all start wearing the same clothing, it's a cult. It's not a trend. But yeah, we were there first thing Sunday morning. We were all extremely tired, as we usually are. But there is another thing that is happening at our cons that our fearless leader, Brad, has been starting. And Brad makes his own ginger shots. Yeah, he makes his own ginger shots. And we all got together at the beginning, and we all had ginger shots. And I've never had a ginger shot before. It's literally just ginger and lemon. And it popped my ginger shot cherry. I've never had anything taste weirder and burn going down my esophagus. It was such a weird feeling, but supposedly it makes you healthy. It makes you feel good. I don't know about that. It sat in my stomach for a little while, but everyone says this is supposed to keep you healthy. Debbie Dunning also participated in that and kind of had the same, results as I did. You don't say that again. Thanks, hon. Yeah, it was weird. So yeah, that's how we started, and then the rest of the day, again, it was kind of uneventful. There wasn't a lot of craziness happening. Um, I want to say right now, Debbie Dunning was an absolute jewel to work with. She is so caring to the staff, to the people who help her. We had someone behind her table who I'm friends with, Don. He was assisting her with money and everything else. I was on the other side of the table working in the lines. Richard Karn had a gentleman named Ryan, who I just met, who was an amazing guy. Debbie was more than accommodating, trying to make sure that we had a great time, making sure if we needed anything, she was more than happy to get it for us. Even though we didn't ask her to do it, she did. So I want to give a big shout out to Debbie Dunning for going above and beyond as a guest. And I hope she's invited back because I can't wait to work with her again. Also, I want to give a big shout out to Richard Karn. I'm not going to say too much about this, but I do feel like it needs to be said. Richard received some bad news while from home while he was at the con on the Sunday, and this man powered through the Sunday like a champ. And I mean, if this news came to me, I wouldn't have been able to work. I won't say any more about what happened or what the news was, but to say this man is courageous for making it through Sunday with a smile on his face is a freaking understatement. So a big round of applause to Richard. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. He's an incredible guy. Very, very helpful when it came to little tips of helping me around the house. I told him a couple things I'm going to be working on the next while, and he gave me a couple pointers on how to fix certain things, which made me smile to get handyman advice from Al Borland. I mean, that's pretty dope in my opinion. But yeah, they were both incredible. I also went up and met Catherine Sutherland, who, again, I'm a giant Power Rangers fan. I have all my Power Rangers stuff back here. Meeting her was an absolute delight. She was so happy to be there. She was so happy to meet everybody. I think she may have had the impression that because she wasn't Amy Jo Johnson, and Amy Jo is from Toronto and has that sort of hometown, home province feel to it, that she wasn't going to get that. Man, she was a delight and such a nice person. I'm glad she was busy. I hope they bring her back as well. Yeah, like it was such, and Crystal said in chat, sounds like it was a snore fest. It honestly wasn't a snore fest. And that's I want to state that. It was not a snore fest of a con. It's just nothing crazy happened. And that's kind of a good thing. Like, for especially from a volunteer point of view, like we've had things happen where, you know, certain guests get upset, certain fans get upset, and we have to figure out ways to work around it. What's something wrong with the venue? It kind of was just a simple con with nothing bad happening. So it wasn't a bad thing. It was kind of just a normal convention. The one funny thing that did happen, though, there was a wrestler that was supposed to be there. You may remember him. Honestly, I'm a wrestling fan. I cannot remember his name. I believe his name is Aziz. He was in NXT and he was on WWE for a little bit. And it was getting close to closing time. Like, the song Closing Time was pretty close to start playing. And he never showed up. We were kind of like, there were people waiting in line. We were kind of going like, okay, like, is this guy going to show up? And I guess someone relayed the message to the fans, like, hey, we don't know where he is. So unfortunately, like, you can stick around, but I don't think he's coming. The con closes at 4. I believe Aziz showed up at like 2:30. And by that point on a Sunday, some guests have already started to leave because they've got flights to catch, they've got to make it across the border, etc. So half the con was kind of closed when he showed up. And part of me felt kind of bad because he showed up, he set up his booth, he put up his t-shirts, he pulled out his 8x10s, and kind of nobody wanted to really meet him because A, he's not like Hulk Hogan, so it's not like someone's going to wait for him. and, you know, wait hours upon hours upon hours to meet him. But like, he's also, it's closing time and he's coming around at the last minute. So yeah, I kind of felt bad for him. Justin Smith in chat made a good point. I think the biggest name, Bam Margera, canceling so soon to the con may have hurt them. Yeah, and that's something that kind of comes along with the convention circuit. You kind of have to hope that everything works out. You know, Bam having what seems to be legal problems, and I believe it was he missed something to do with his probation, so he couldn't make it. And there was a couple other guests that couldn't make it. I don't know if it was flight reasons or whatever, but there was unfortunately a few cancellations at the last minute, and it just happens. Unfortunately, I know I heard a rumor from, you know, other people that they might try and get Bam back for either Frightmare or Niagara Falls next year. Yeah, I don't know. People were told, Alex said people were told to come back at 3, but he didn't show up till 3:50. It was at 3:15. Okay, so it was later than 2:30 for him. He got another DWI. I didn't hear DWI. I heard something broke his probation, and it might have been a DWI, but I just heard broke probation. So, yeah, unfortunately, he was unable to make it. And that kind of happens. You know, I don't really blame the convention for that, because they have no control over what the guests do. It's a bummer as a fan for the people who paid a bunch of money to go and to, you know, possibly travel to meet him. I think that just kind of falls on him, though. And that's, as a fan of his, you have to kind of you kind of have to worry about stuff like that happening. But yeah, the con kind of ended early, and we kind of packed things up and we headed home. So overall, it was kind of uneventful. Like I said, Debbie Dunning was an incredible person to work with. Richard was amazing. Catherine Sutherland was amazing. Carrie Dean was amazing. Slaughter was great. Bam is a risky person to book right now, to be honest. Bam has been a risky person to book for a while. But the problem is, when he's good, he's great. And he was at Frightmare a couple years ago, and I know there was that aura of like, what are we going to get? And he was a treat. Everyone said he was great. So it's kind of, you know, it's kind of hard to have something like that go so well and still paint him with that brush like it's a problem. So, you know, I hope everything gets better with him. I hope he is able to come back, because I know he has a fan base that want to meet him still. So fingers crossed. That's all you can do. So overall, what did I think of this con? Well, there's one thing I did not mention during the day-by-day breakdown, and that is because this is something that kind of happened throughout the weekend, and I'm not the only person that brought this up. Sadly, this was probably the grossest con I've ever been to, and it has nothing to do with the convention itself. The con was great. However, there was a ton of people that were at this con who had severe body odor, who were without a doubt wiping their noses with their hands and trying to shake people's hands. We even had someone walking through that was drooling on themselves. And I get it with some people. Like, it was a warm room and some people are super nervous and don't know how to deal with that. I get it. But to be around that 24/7 at a convention, like, it's tough. And it was I'll admit, I'm kind of thick when it comes to stuff like that. I don't really pay attention to it, but I ran into it a lot this weekend. And again, it's nothing against the con, so please do not put that label on the convention. The convention had nothing to do with that. That was simply the attendees. And I feel so bad that if anyone ran into that at the convention, that is what the reputation of this con is, because it really isn't. The con is usually amazing, but for some reason this weekend, it was just bad when it came to that. So if you're a con attendee, please, I stress to you, shower before you go, deodorant, spray if you can. I know the world is sort of an odor-free world now because people have sensitivities and such, but I'm sorry. I would rather have a really strong smell of a perfume or a cologne than nothing and have that happen. Yeah, that was probably the worst part of the con. And again, I stress it. I want to make sure this is stressed. Do not think that has anything to do with Hamilton Comic Con itself. It isn't. It's unfortunately the people that bought tickets to Hamilton Comic Con and probably other Comic Cons as well. I just don't know why it happened at this one so bad. It was a slow con, and that just happens, unfortunately, at this one. I don't know if it was just the guests and having so many cancellations at the last minute, but it was a slow con. It was still great because I had all my con family there. I met some amazing cosplayers while I was there. I know the Cosplay Alliance folks were walking around. Shadowhawk Cosplay, or Snowhawk Cosplay. Snowhawk, I cannot remember everybody's name. This is the problem about being a cosplayer and having 5,000 different cosplayers. I need to remember all your names. I need to write them all down. The Cosplay Alliance folks were there. They looked like they were having a blast. I know they were interviewing a few people. It'll probably pop up on their channel soon. Overall, I give this con a 6. I think it's a great con still. I think it's definitely a different beast than any other con. I think they may need to bring in 1, maybe 2 headliners that you would probably expect from a Niagara or a Frightmare. I know Hamilton used to be the wrestling reunion con, and I feel like the wrestlers they had there haven't been around in a while, so that was a great idea, but also it didn't have any big names besides Slaughter, who has been at a con recently in the area. But I also like that hometown feel. Like I said, there's that. It's the guests sort of feel like the ones you'd see on a CHCH and those old shows. So I kind of like that. It has its own little beast, and I don't mind personally. I like having a slow con because any other con I volunteer at or attend is usually 10,000 people and running around like crazy and everybody having a blast. I don't mind a chill con every now and then. But yeah, if you're a Hamiltonian, come out to the con. Like, come out next year, please. Again, don't take the grossness seriously when it comes to the con. Come and be the opposite. Shower and wear deodorant and all those things. It's still a great con. If you want something big, there's still Hamilton, there's still Expo, there's still London, there's still Niagara, but you still get the fun of that little hometown crowd. It was cool to see some hometown people at this con. Yeah, that's kind of it. Lindsay in chat says, I remember when Proust used to were at Expo and sold spray just for that reason. Yeah, some friends of ours used to live in Hamilton and would make soap and spray they'd have a booth at the convention called Confunk Spray, and that's basically their homemade spray that a little bottle you can bring with you to a con and just do a couple and it would help you with your funk. Wish they were still around because I think they do a killing. Hamilton felt bigger than London. That's what Alex said in chat. I think so. I think that's a fair assessment. Again, I wasn't at London this year, but I was at it last year. I think it's its own beast. I think London is really wanting to get that cosplay crowd. I think that's something that they're trying to get that crowd to go to that one. I don't know if Hamilton is really interested in that. I think honestly, Hamilton Comic-Con would be, I wouldn't even know if I'd call it a Comic-Con. I think I'd call it a nostalgia con because it really is it's really about nostalgia at that one. There isn't a lot of people that attend that con that have a lot of mainstream current things going on. Al and Heidi were in Home Improvement. They haven't really done a lot since. The Revenge of the Nerds guys, I know they've been in little things here and there, but nothing big mainstream that a lot of people would recognize them from. The voice actor of Andy from Toy Story was there. He's in the Toy Story movies, but nothing huge. Same with the wrestlers. Like Sergeant Slaughter had a G.I. Joe come out a little while ago, but nothing else he's really done. He's a legend. So I would really call this a nostalgia con. Justice Smith in chat says, I almost went to Hamilton Comic Con this year to get Donald Gibbs' autograph on a Bloodsport poster. Donald Gibbs looked like he had a freaking fun time. He was always smiles when he was walking past all of us. Yeah, overall, I'd give this con a 6 out of 10. I think it's a great little con. I think it needs maybe a little bit of work for next year, but I think overall it's still a fun time, and I hope Hamiltonians will come out and support this con next year. We'll see what the guest lineup is. I hope they bring back more of the wrestling. I hope they make a big wrestling reunion next year. That's about it, folks. We're at the 15-minute mark. Again, I knew this wouldn't go a full hour, but thank you all for watching. If you guys, again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It means a ton. Next week, we have one more show, and then we're going to have a guest. Next week, we're going to have something that is really near and dear to my heart. Mr. Alex in chat mentioned a person that he was working with at London Comic-Con. He was working with the co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Kevin Eastman was there. I unfortunately did not get to meet him, even though I'm a big TMNT fan. However, this did give me an idea for next week. And next week's show, I'm going to be talking about the first 5 TMNT movies. 5 being TMNT 1, TMNT 2, Secret of the Use, TMNT 3, the time travel one. Why did I blank on that? The first animated movie from 2003, I believe. And lastly, we're going to talk about the Michael Bay films. I'm going to combine both of them into one because there's no point in breaking those up. So we're going to talk about those 6 TMNT movies next week, because I have some opinions that I don't know if I mentioned them on here. I may have mentioned them a while back, but I want to bring it up again that the third one I have a strong opinion on, as well as the first and second, to be honest. But yeah, next week we're going to talk all about the TMNT movies, and then after that we're going to have a guest, and then we're going to have Frightmare, and then what are we doing? Actually, I have the list here. Let me go through it. We're going to have TMNT, then we're going to have Pretty Nerdy Crystal is going to be on the show. We're going to talk about HeartCon, or we're going to talk about, not HeartCon, we're going to talk about Niagara Game Con. We're going to talk, because we're both going to be there. We're both going to be guests. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about sewing. We're going to talk about how to be a seamstress and all you need to know about starting that, because I'm kind of new to it and she's amazing at it. So we're going to talk all about that. Then we were going to be ranking again come Halloween, folks. Alex said Nickel City. I'm not sure if I'm doing Nickel City. I don't know. I've got 3 more cons to go already. I don't know if I'm going to be doing Nickel City 2.0. We will see. So after that, let me pull up the dates so you guys know. So we've got the 30th. We're going to talk about the TMNT movies. Then on the 7th, we're going to talk to Pretty Nerdy Crystal. And then on the 21st, we're going to do a ranking. I'm going to skip Thanksgiving because we're busy. We're going to talk on the 21st about ranking. Last year, we ranked the Halloween movies. We ranked 1 to 100, it seems like, with that franchise. We're going to do the same thing this year, except we're going to rank the Friday the 13th movies. I'm going to rank all 12 from number 1 to number 12. Then we're going to talk about Frightmare in the Falls, because Frightmare in the Falls is that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I will be doing the Saturday. Then we're going to talk about HeartCon, and then when we hit November, we're going to have something that I did a long time ago, and we're going to do it again this year, or this month, November. We're going to have 90s month, where each week we're going to have a topic about the 90s, and that is going to be 90s video game movies, 90s comic book movies, and the 90s Batman movies, which we're also going to include the 89 Batman because it's close enough. Then we're going to do something that I hope everyone tunes in for, because I think everyone's going to have a great time thinking about this. Yes, Alex, in chat, we are going to be talking about Freddy versus Jason. On December 2nd, we're going to go through ChatGPT and we're going to find the top nerd and geek gifts for 2024. So you who are nerds and geeks probably have nerds and geeks in your life. I'm going to tell you what the top different gifts for Harry Potter fans, Star Wars fans, Marvel fans, anime fans, gaming fans. We're going to go through all of those so you have all the gifts ready for when that guy comes down the chimney or whatever other holiday you want to celebrate. You'll be ready for the Christmas and holiday season. Then we're going to talk about building a cosplay room and what you need when you want to start building your own. Then we're going to talk about Green Lantern. And then at the end, we're going to have a review show at the end of the year. And that is it for 2024. So we got a bunch of shows coming up. I hope you will tune into every single one of them. I got a few more conventions I'll be heading to. So I hope you guys are going to be there. I'm going to be at Niagara Game Con, as I said. I'm going to probably be at the Saturday of Frightmare, enjoying a bunch of horror with the rest of you. I'm going to be at HeartCon in Toronto at the beginning of November. And I think that's kind of it for the year. So hopefully you're having a great night. Hopefully you have a great week. Thank you all for tuning in. If you're still here, I greatly appreciate it. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. It means a ton. Hit the bell so you know when things go live. Because, yeah, I got those cosplay Q&A, AMA, Ask Me Anything coming out every single day. So you don't miss any of those or any of my shows or any of the other videos. I'm going to stop talking because I think you're probably bored of me. Have yourselves a great night, and I will see you all very, very soon. I love you all. I'll talk to you soon. Take care, folks. See you then. Hey, thanks for watching Monday Night Nerd. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the subscribe button, like this content, and follow on social media for even more nerdy fun. See you soon.